All right, guys. So this is day two of our women's suffrage unit, and I told you yesterday that you're going to be really getting into who Susan B. Anthony was, and this one is specifically titled "Susan B. Anthony voted on November 5th, 1872." And let me tell you something: she made a lot of people mad. Oh my goodness! For her as a woman to have the confidence to go to the voting polls um, and to vote, even though she knew she was going to be arrested, um, she angered a lot of people. But in that, not only did she anger people, but she empowered people. And by empowering people, she really got a huge following after this. All right, so let's get to talking about it. All right, so Susan B. Anthony was born in February in 1820. She was one of six children, and she felt that women should have the same rights as men. That being a woman didn't change who you were, didn't change the things that you could do. And she also felt that your skin color did not change who you are or what you have the capability of doing. So on November 5th, 1872, Susan B. Anthony, with a group of other women, cast ballots in the presidential election in Rochester, New York. A few days earlier, they had convinced an election inspector to register them to vote. It was during the 1872 presidential election that Susan wanted to test case women's right to vote. In 1872, it was illegal, which means you can be arrested, you can be fined. It is not lawful for women to vote. At that time, women were not considered equal to men. Women were not allowed to own property. They weren't allowed to have a bank account. They weren't even allowed to write school excuses if their child had to stay home from school because they were sick. Women were very dependent on men. Susan was involved in many social issues, but women's suffrage was one of the particular interests to her. She studied the U.S. Constitution and decided to test the merits of the founding document. Her argument was that the Constitution did not specifically say man. In fact, the 14th Amendment guarantees U.S. citizens the right to vote. Susan's argument was that she was a U.S. citizen and, as such, should be permitted to vote. On November 18th, Susan was arrested for going to vote. Her arrest and subsequent trial would become national news and was a major step in bringing women's rights the foreground of politics. So, as I told you as I started this lesson, yes, she angered a lot of people. But in that anger, a lot of people saw her confidence and really didn't understand why this woman was being arrested for doing something as simple as going to vote, okay? And so she ended up gaining this true following to help build this fight and build this protest against women being discriminated against. Susan B. Anthony was put on trial during the summer of 1873. Hush. She was found guilty and ordered to pay a $100 fine. She never paid it. After the trial, Susan worked closely with Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and we talked about her yesterday. They ended up becoming best friends, okay? The two women had a close friendship and would become allies in the fight for women to vote. Stanton was known for her speech writing, and Anthony was known for her orating. They were a perfect match. Together, they founded the National Women's Suffrage Association in 1869. Their partnership was one of the most important in American history, okay? All right, so Susan B. Anthony ended up dying in March 13th, 1906. Well, we just talked about yesterday when the 19th Amendment passed. It didn't pass until the 1920s. Susan B. Anthony never lived to see women get the right to vote, okay? Which is very sad. But she worked so hard, and the things that she did in her lifetime really affected the future of women and the future of our country and how our country really stands for what equality means. Okay. So you have a couple more pages of information, and then you've got hush. And then you've got some pages that, just like yesterday, I need you to fill out and make sure you click share and type in my email. And if you have any questions, let me know.